Hey guys, me again, Cute Mimi25, making yet again another top 5 video. I was going to make a rant on what's happened to modern Saturday morning cartoons these days, but I couldn't think of a good script, so sorry to disappoint you. I will update my rant on Saturday mornings, how bad they have been from 2012 up to now, but I will work on that video in the future. However, speaking of Saturday morning, I do want to talk about a top 5 list of one of my favorite Saturday morning and weekday afternoon blocks. And you may be asking me what that is. The one block I want to talk about that aired weekday afternoons and Saturday mornings that I like the most is this one. That being Kids WB, or for those who want to say more interesting like back how they used to say it when Kids WB debuted, that being Kids Dubba Dubba WB. Yes, they did say that. In fact, the original commercials back in 95, 96, they had celebrities saying stuff like, "You're watching Kids Dubba Dubba WB." I quite like those commercials. I thought they were pretty hilarious. Heck, I think all the commercials they made for Kids WB, they were awesome. Here's what their original logo looked like when Kids WB first came out. They've had this up until 1996. Then they changed it to the more colorful one most people recognize. This one still looks nice and colorful, a bit wacky, but that's what made it awesome. This is the logo I'm more fond with because I started watching Kids WB around 98, 99. Most people are familiar with this logo as well because that's where Kids WB shined like a star. This is the last logo they used up until before it became the CW for kids. Out of the three, this is my favorite because the colorables look more crisp and more presentable. I mean, the other two don't look too bad as well. They all look great. It's just, if I had to pick one between the three, this one takes the cake in my opinion. A few more things I'd like to point out is, if your favorite Kids WB show is not on this list, then it's probably part of the honorable mentions. And another thing, if it aired on the block Kids WB, it counts on my list. Anyway, without further ado, here's my top 5 favorite Kids WB shows of all time. Number 5. Number 5 belongs to Pinky and the Brain. This show is one of my favorite Warner Brother animated shows. Well, one of the original ones back when Kids WB started back in 1995. Out of all the ones in 95, this one's my favorite. Mainly because it's about Pinky and the Brain trying to take over the world. It always starts off by Pinky asking the Brain, "Gee, Brain, what do you want to do tonight?" And the Brain says, "Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world." This show is funny. If you've never seen it before, you gotta watch it. It's hysterical. I especially love the theme song. If you want to check out the theme song, I will provide an annotation in the video if you want to, or in the description if you're watching on a mobile device. This show is funny. They try to do ways to take over the world, but it doesn't work out so well. Things backfire. And that's why I like this show so much. This is number 5 on my list. Let's get on with number 4. Number 4. Number 4 goes to Teen Titans, and when I say Teen Titans, I mean the original Teen Titans. Not the new one you call Teen Titans Go. Do not watch Teen Titans Go. If you do, you're going to wish you never did in the first place. It's that bad. I'm not kidding. I tried sitting through an episode, I just wanted to jump out of a window after watching it. It's that bad. Aside from that, as for the original Teen Titans, I really liked it, especially the theme song, whether it being in English or Japanese. Another thing on the theme song is there's also some episodes where it's more action-packed and more comedy-ish. If it's in English, if the theme song is in English, then it's going to be an action-packed episode. But if it's in Japanese, you should expect comedy because I know that because I've been watching episodes of Teen Titans, several of them, and I've been keeping track of the differences between the funny ones and the action-packed ones. And at least the older Teen Titans, when it's more comedy-ish, it's more funnier than the one you find on Teen Titans Go. In fact, the original one is actually more family-friendly since it's rated TV Y7FV, as opposed to the new one that's rated TV PG. It's not family-friendly. In fact, I think parents should not let kids watch Teen Titans Go. They should let them watch the original one. Also, to set out any confusion, it originally started on Kids WB, even though it only had 2 seasons. But that's where it started first. The rest of the seasons aired on Cartoon Network, just to set up any confusion for anyone wondering why this is on this list. But aside from that, let's move on to number 3. Number 3! Number 3, he'll put a shock to your system. That's right, I'm talking about Static Shock. This is one of my other favorite animated kids WB shows. In fact, this one is so good, I have to mention it in my top 5 list. This is number 3 on my list. It's about a boy who, your typical middle school person who ends up getting into a situation with a bunch of other people. They all run into some chemicals, and then they all get weird powers. For Static, he gets powers where he can basically control electricity, while everyone else has different powers, but Static is the only one who uses it to stop those bad guys from doing evil stuff. Also, another thing, Static keeps his Static identity secret because he doesn't want to get in trouble or people to figure out his top secret, and I don't blame him. Also, another thing I like to point out is they also did a shorts on Kids WB back in the day where they had Shaquille O'Neal hanging with Static Shock. They called it Static Shack. In fact, whoever thought that was a great idea, they did the right thing. In fact, I thought the idea was fantastic. In fact, if you want to look up the Static Shock shorts called Static Shack, I will provide an annotation. In fact, it's really good, in my opinion. In fact, that's number 3 on my list. Let's get on with number 2. Number 2. Number 2 has to go to Jackie Chan Avengers. The idea based, an animated show based off of a celebrity is a great idea, as long as you pick the right person, and Jackie Chan was exactly one of the right people. The idea of getting talismans from bad guys and make sure no trouble happens, that is a great idea of a show. In fact, I think Jackie Chan is a great celebrity to begin with, not just for this show, but others as well. Like the movies like Rush Hour films, even the new Karate Kid he was pretty good in. But I recommend The Tuxedo if anyone's looking for a good film. But back onto the topic of Jackie Chan Adventures, all 5 seasons were great. The first season was basically getting the talisman, and the second one, similar, third, fourth, and fifth, basically they had similar bad guys, but later on they had more different bad people as well. Also, one of the bad guys in season 1 later joined Jackie, his niece, and his uncle to help get the talisman and make sure trouble doesn't happen. I find it interesting that that would happen in the series, but hey, what do you expect? That's number 2 on my favorite Kids WB shows. Let's take a look at the number 1 show. And now, my number 1 favorite Kids WB show is... You people should see this one coming, because my number 1 favorite show of all time on Kids WB is this one. That's right, I'm talking Pokemon. So before any of you say, that doesn't count, it's not a Kids WB show, if it aired on the block, then it does count. Or it did start on Kids WB. Technically it was syndicated, but some stations did air it on WB, so technically it did start on Kids WB, at least to my knowledge. But whether it did or not, this is my favorite Kids WB show of all time. The original Pokemon and the Advanced Generation. I also like the Advanced Generation, even though most people didn't like it at the point. Although, after Advanced Battle, they moved Pokemon to Cartoon Network because 4Kids Entertainment lost the rights to dubbing Pokemon, so somebody else had to pick it up, which is why the voices changed around that point as well. But aside from that, the Advanced Generation was also enjoyable, as well as the original. I quite like the original ones because the theme songs back when 4Kids had the rights, they were pretty good. I will make a top 5 list of my favorite theme songs in a separate video, but overall, out of the 5 shows that aired on Kids WB, Pokemon from the original up until Advanced Generation were the best. Anyway, there you have my top 5 favorite Kids WB shows of all time. Thanks for watching. This is CuteMimi25 signing off.